Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. It is now January of 2025, and given that the Meghan Markle situation is still worsening over at Netflix between its CEO Greg Peters as well as the various board of directors there, we know that there's a lot of drama happening between Meghan Markle and also the overall production hell happening over at With Love, Meghan for Netflix. Now, what's interesting about all of this is that we already know that it's a marketing disaster since the trailer debuted some time ago in the early days of this month. We know that With Love, Meghan really was poorly received to this very day. It is getting ratioed across all forms of social media, and when I say ratioed, we're talking about likes compared to dislikes. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, one thing about Meghan Markle is that she is a very overly demanding individual. We know what she did toward the previous marketing team for this actual series. She got them fired. She got the Netflix board of directors to agree with her days and days ago. We talked about this, and now she has a full-on handpicked new marketing team that's going to create new trailers, new TV spots for the show. But it's getting even worse when it comes to all of the drama happening between herself and how she's actually reacting to the Netflix show Boycott between all of those that are subscribed to Netflix that no longer want to be involved in Netflix or they are just growing very tired of Netflix siding with Meghan Markle. There is indeed a large widespread boycott happening as we speak from the public, from the customers of Netflix, against the studio executives. So let's dive into this further, shall we? Now, it's interesting about all of this that with the entire media now officially in a financial crisis, the whole film industry is also gaining more backlash from the public, and especially with the Meghan Markle Netflix situation that's been going on for weeks now. One major development that is now active involves how Meghan Markle recently had an in-depth meeting with the Netflix studio executives at the Netflix HQ in regards to the intense boycott coming from the critics of Meghan Markle and those that are opposed to Netflix releasing another Meghan Markle production. Now, they have now reportedly received well over 40,000 emails, that's 20,000 more than we reported a couple of days ago, from their customers complaining about the series With Love, Meghan, that has now set the debut on March 4th. Not so shockingly, Meghan Markle had multiple heated arguments with the studio executives in regards to the Netflix boycott after CEO Greg Peters decided to make a swift move, and that was to drastically cut down on the amount of funds that will be used for the marketing of the show. Now, this comes almost 2 weeks after Meghan Markle got the previous marketing team fired and already handpicked a new group. And though Meghan Markle got her own team, she is now officially receiving drastic cutbacks on the amount of interviews she will also be allowed to do for the projects, such as on late-night television, all of which have been cancelled or through the trades, and as well as during the Oscars. Meghan will not be allowed to discuss about her show With Love, Meghan at the Oscars on the red carpet. Meghan was also furious and had multiple moments of outrage toward Greg Peters for making this call and decision in convincing the board to stick with this plan. More and more board members are now beginning to side with Greg over Meghan. However, the majority are still with Meghan, unfortunately. Now, not only did Greg Peters slash Meghan's interviews by roughly, get this, 70%, but also Meghan Markle was reportedly demanding reshoots for the first 2 episodes of the series, and here's why, to be done in February. Greg Peters refused since it could, of course, cost millions of dollars, and they also agreed and put Meghan Markle to the wayside. Now, guys, let me just say one thing about Meghan Markle. The fact that she went as far to demand reshoots for this show, I think speaks volumes about why she did everything in her might and successfully did it to delay the show till March 4th, blaming it on the LA fires. All right, all the wildfires going on over there, which by the way is a true tragedy. It's terrible. And it's even more sickening that someone like Meghan Markle would go there for a photo op where I think she was only there for 25 minutes, give or take. That's what people have been saying. So Meghan Markle, all right, now is not only asking for and demanding, I should say, toward the studio executives, for reshoots, but this is where it gets interesting because she's also demanding for other aspects of the show to be improved. Now, we already know that the first 2 episodes are always crucial when it comes to a viewer, right? That's usually when people make up their mind whether or not they really want to stick around, right? That's why a lot of these shows, especially the Star Wars shows on Disney+, sometimes they have these 2-episode premieres. They want to convince people that the first one is an introduction, and then the second one picks up on the story. So that's another interesting aspect, is that she wants the first 2 episodes to be completely reshot, or at least partially reshot to an extent, and basically to fix up the pacing, and she's actually blaming the editors. So let's dive into this. She is reportedly very emotional and saddened over the supposed fact by Meghan that the editing team used some of her worst takes in the first 2 episodes of the show, and is now desperately demanding reshoots regardless of the board's decision. This all comes in light of the Netflix boycott and why the board is now beginning to wake up somewhat, since they are witnessing a loss of subs via the Netflix analysts that delivered a data report that there was a significant sudden dip in subscribers just after they've released a trailer for With Love, Meghan. Now, to make matters worse for Meghan now is that she is also demanding yet another delay from March 4th until sometime in April in a desperate move to improve the marketing of her show to convince others to check it out with a brand new trailer, which is now in the works. However, Meghan is demanding at least 3 trailers minimum to fix this boycott, and she now wants this thing delayed again until April. Now, look, we've been talking about this delay, and it did happen, but we've been talking about this since like January 2nd or the 3rd, even before that trailer picked up in the form of the backlash from the public that she wanted to get this thing delayed, and this was well before the fires were really even anything significant. And that's when you got to realize that she's using every opportunity that she can get to delay the show altogether. So the fact that we have more board members now waking up over at Netflix turning their back against Meghan Markle, I think is a very telltale sign that this contract deal, this $100 million contract deal, very well likely will not get renewed beyond 2025 for those of you that are unaware. She did have a contract deal. It ends this year, and she's trying desperately to renew it. Now, the renewal of that contract. All right, listen up to this because this is a big thing. The renewal of that contract is crucial. It's all dependent on the success of this With Love, Meghan series. Now, how much of a failure does it have to be for them to actually decide to no longer use Meghan Markle? That's something that we have to actually take a lot of time to research on that. But that will be something that we will be discussing in a couple of days from now. But interestingly enough, we know that Meghan Markle is going to continue to demand the Netflix studio executives making all these different ultimatums, and this is exactly why she pressured Netflix to delay this thing until March 4th, that she brought in the LA fires into the mix to kind of use it as a sentimental piece to kind of convince them to do so. That's reportedly exactly what happened. Now, again, this show, which also stars Mindy Kaling, who isn't, the most lovable actress out there by the public. I mean, she does have a lot of critics also. As well. That's another thing. We know that she's trying to convince Mindy Kaling to also no longer work with Warner Brothers after her feud with them and after her problems with the studio execs over there. That's another thing. But I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this boycott below in the comments and her reaction to it all. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.